So I watched this movie. I watched this movie called The Catch. Good old Tubi. Tubi movies, I gotta say, there's a lot of good movies on Tubi. There's a lot of any old movies you've been trying to catch up on or just never even seen or heard of. There's so many movies on there that I'm just like, whoa, I gotta watch these. I gotta watch these. But I started not last night, but it's been about a week now. I watched this movie called The Catch. It starts out, it's about this lady. She's from this rural town, this I guess on the water area in Maine. So she returns to the town. So it seems as if she's coming from the big city, maybe Portland, Maine, or one of the major cities. So she returns to this looks like a little island off of the mainland. And she goes to her dad's house, and she returns, and funny thing is, she enters and she says, hello, Dad. Hello, Daddy. And this guy doesn't even turn around. He's like, huh. He turns around finally and looks at her, almost like, wow, why are you back? But anyway, she goes in. Her brother comes and shows up too. And they hug. They obviously they seem to have a tight relationship. But she apparently has been gone for a while. So she returns, and the dad automatically, straight from the door, says, well, you can stay, but you're gonna have to rent. You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay rent. You're gonna have to pay for your stay. You can't just come and lounge around. She wants to stay with her brother, but Dad kicks that idea out the door. Nope, he has a family now, and you can't be a disturbance there. So she gets a job at a local bar, not a local bar, diner. So automatically you kind of see that she has this way about her of, I'm gonna get over. She has a I'm gonna get over type mindset mentality. Because she starts to steal money from the tips and the pay that people are leaving on the table in this bar. This seems like a real open type place. Everybody knows everybody. You can leave your money on the table. Nobody's gonna take it. Well, she comes and she starts. So you get this image about her. So she learns through an old boyfriend of hers, this guy named Dickie. We get a little glimpse of Dickie in from the beginning in the bar, because Dickie shows up and says, "Oh, I heard you're back in town," and blah, blah, blah. So you get this idea that her and Dickie, past boyfriend, girlfriend, friends with benefits, whatever you want to call it. And so Dickie's like, yo, why don't you meet me later? So she's like, not on your life. So her and her brother are out later on that evening, and they're looking out over the water, and she sees a boat. She sees this boat floating. So this boat is floating in the water, and the lights are on. Then all of a sudden the lights go off. So the lights go off for about a minute, but then when the lights come back on, she sees a boat that she recognizes, and this boat is heading towards the mainland. So I believe she sees, that boat looks familiar. She believes it's Dickie's boat. So the next day, she goes to see Dickie. Goes to his mom. Dickie wakes up and hears she's downstairs talking to his mom. He's like, what the heck? So Dickie goes downstairs and looks and is like, huh. So she questions him. She questions him about, what were you doing on the water last night? So he gives her some whatever, meet me. So anyway, they end up meeting later on, and eventually what happens is she finds out that he is transporting weed, large weights of weed, to the mainland. Like I said, they live on, I guess, this little island that's considered part of Maine off of the mainland. So these drugs get dropped off in the middle of the bay. Okay, Dickie takes them to the mainland. So she wants in. She wants in on this. Get it? She's been gone for however long, but she wants in on Dickie's, scenario. But anyway, so what it comes down to is, but before I go too far into that, now the dad and the brother, they are, lobster trappers. So, they got this big company that's trying to come in and move in on their way of life. They still do things the old-fashioned way. And they catch they distribute the lobsters. They catch them with these little traps. But this company wants to come in because it seems as if there's a vast amount of lobster there. They see an opportunity. They look at this town. They see an opportunity for massive growth, and they're trying to move in. And they are stealing the lobsters that this lady's brother and father are capturing overnight. So they set up a little sting operation where they want to catch who's doing this, who is stealing our lobsters. So they do. So they set up a little sting operation. So in the meantime, girlfriend and her friend Dickie are going to try to steal these drugs, the next drop off, and take off. Because it comes to find out that the lady is pregnant from this past relationship that they keep flashing back to, but there's no clear definition as to what's going on. But at the very beginning of the movie, it just shows her running from a location, and it shows her, next thing you see, she's on a boat heading out to this little island. Okay. So anyway, her and Dickie plan to take these drugs and run off. So what happens is, the drop is made. Dickie picks up like he's supposed to. But what she's supposed to do is she's supposed to be out in the water during the time the lights go out. She's going to be on a boat that has a little propel. She's going to take the drugs and take off, and then when the lights come back on, Dickie's gonna be there, but the drugs are gonna be gone. And then he's gonna try to persuade these guys that, hey, somebody stole the drugs. We've been robbed. We've been hoodwinked. So they attempt this. And the guys ain't falling for it. They're not falling for it. So they beat Dickie. They beat him almost to death. She finds him. She tries to get rid of the drugs through her uncle and aunt, who are local small-time drug dealers. This is on this little town. This little town off on the bay. So she tries to get rid of them, but the aunt doesn't have the money, and it's much more drugs than she even suspected that they were. And she can't get rid of them. She's like, yo, I can't do nothing with this. I'll give you gotta give me a few days. But the girl's like, no, I don't have a few days. I gotta make my move tonight. But anyway, the guys beat Dickie, and then they come out to her dad's house looking for her. they have a familiarity of who she is, and they've seen her hanging around Dickie, so they're looking for her now. Now, at the same time, the dad and the son set up their trap. Remember I told you about that? They set up the trap, and they actually figure out who are the culprits. Turns out that it's the uncle. It's the man's brother and his wife, which is the aunt of the girl and uncle. So the brother follows the little trap that they set up and beats up the uncle. Says, yo, you're a son of a gun. You're stealing from your own family. You know this is what's going on. Anyway, yeah, so that was an ugly scene, ugly scene. So anyway, the girl's trying to get away. But the drug dealers are on her tail. They follow her out to her dad's house. They know she's there. They come out there, guns a-blazing. Guns a-blazing. So the dad, you know, dad's a local tough guy. You know, he's run the lobster business for, from what he says, the last 4 generations. So he's well known. He's a local tough guy, you know. And so he's like, he's gonna protect his daughter. So what he does, he gets his guns, and he goes out to meet the guys, and he has the drugs, and he's like, here, just take the drugs and go. Here's what you want. But they want the girl. They had to teach a lesson. So anyway, that shootout starts popping off, and the dad ends up getting shot. And I believe the dad passes away. So this girl brought all this turmoil, all this chaos to this town. She has a little sister, a stepmom. Now they gotta live on their own. And the brother. Anyway, the shootout happens, and the dad gets hit, he dies. The drug dealers get hit, they end up getting killed. But there's one thing about this movie, it's called The Catch. So The Catch, you know, has a little play on the lobsters, and it has a little play on the drugs. So the thing is, even though they show you these little scenes for about the woman coming from the city, she's in this fancy dress in the beginning, but then she's in this room, and then all of a sudden somebody's knocking on the room, and they keep flashing back. Then somebody bangs on the door. The next thing you see throughout the movie is the door swings open, and this person falls through the door. It looks like to be a man, and he's dead, just falls on the floor. The next thing you see, she's running away. So it's kind of hard to figure out what that's all about. You never know what that whole thing was. All you know is that she shows up to her town pregnant, and she gets into this little drug thing with Dickie. Dickie ends up dead, her dad ends up dead, and then it shows her taking off on the boat. And where she's going, we don't know. The movie's called The Catch. You gotta check it out. It's a good Tubi movie. I've been watching a lot of good Tubi movies, and I'm gonna talk about it. So check out The Catch. Don't particularly know who these actors are in here, but you know, it's one of those B movies, whatever. It's a good movie. Check it out. It's called The Catch. Till next time, hey, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to this. We're gonna talk about Tubi movies. If you know this movie, you've seen this movie, tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what you thought about it. Suggest some other things that you may have seen, and I can check them out if they're on this type of magnitude on this movie. All right. Next movie I'm gonna talk about is a movie called 7 Minutes. 7 Minutes. It's a good movie. Have a good one.